All right, thank you guys both for sitting down, talking with me today. And I want to start with you, Senator Barrasso. A lot of people see you coming out here campaigning for Kari Lake as kind of a sign that the establishment is giving her more of an embrace, that maybe you can broaden the message and reach people, Republicans who didn't vote for Kari in her run for governor. What do you say to people, Republicans right now, who did not vote for Kari Lake 2 years ago? What do you say to them this time around?
Well, she's very forceful. She's effective. I think she's a responsible voice for the people of Arizona, and we need her in the United States Senate. I was the first senator, Republican senator, to endorse her. She was in Washington. We had a chance to meet. I had watched her previous to that with a number of various interviews that she did. My wife and I watched her. She's the future of our party. We need her. I want to do everything I can to help bring more people together and make sure she wins this election in 2024 for the U.S. Senate.
And a lot has been made in the media. You have made a deal about trying to reach out to folks like your former opponents, Karen Taylor Robeson and Meghan McCain. That's been in the news a lot. I want to ask you, how has that been working, reaching out to more moderate Republicans, considering you did call them, a lot of folks, rhinos, and you weren't happy with certain elements of the party? How is that message being taken right now?
I think it's going well. I really do. And we've talked about this before, you and I have. I don't want to tell the world, everybody I'm meeting with, because I don't want them to be dragged into a news story unnecessarily. I am gaining a lot of support with people who didn't previously support me. I had a lot of support before, and I'm just adding. It's a game of addition, they say, politics is. But more important than just adding to my support, I want to bring people together. We're so divided as a country. I do put a lot of the blame on the media for that. Working in the media for a long time, I know it's about keeping people afraid, divided, isolated, and it's done a lot of damage to our country. So I want to bring people together. We're going to have a big cleanup job to do, and it's going to take all hands on deck. That means all Republicans. It's going to take independents to come in. Even disaffected Democrats are waking up to these policies that just aren't working. I know that the people who are watching your station tonight are looking at the border crisis. They're hearing about stories like Laken Riley, who was murdered by somebody here illegally. He shouldn't have even been here. Another story that I talked about today, a murder when somebody was deported 4 times and they're still committing crimes and still coming back. We have to secure the border. It's starting to affect every single American. And so I want to work to bring Republicans together to do that, independents, Democrats. I'm meeting with all kinds of Arizonans. Some of them are traditional Republicans, some of them are MAGA Republicans, and we're going to work together. We're going to get the majority in the U.S. Senate. And when we get that, we're going to take all kinds of Republicans. Some are going to be from states that are a little more purple or even blue. I think we might even have a win in some of the blue states with Republicans. They have to represent their constituents. And when we get together in the Senate, we are going to work together. The people of this country are going to demand it.
And speaking of moderates and whatnot, you said that your one attack that got on McCain got a lot of attention, that drove a stake to the heart of the McCain machine. You said that was in jest, correct?
Well,
that was in jest.
No, this was a different comment, but that comment refers to a political apparatus here in Arizona that had a grip on politics, and it was really hard for the grassroots to take any movement and get in. Mm-hmm. And I believe that with my victory in the primary for the governorship, we did show the grassroots has power in this state, and the grassroots do have power. That's how this government is supposed to be, from the bottom up. And the grassroots have a lot of power. I want to bring people in who are more establishment, traditional as well. I truly am extending an olive branch. I mean it. If you weren't with me before, I want you with me, because we got to save our country.
But there was a lot of attention on that one comment that you guys have said that was a joke or in jest. I do want to ask you, though, but you also went after Cindy McCain when you run for governor.
How did I go after her?
You had said that she was in cahoots with George Soros, that to defeat America and whatnot. And I wanted to say, is that
a direct quote?
That was you on the Steve Bannon show, I believe.
Okay.
Is that something you really still believe about them?
Cindy McCain works for the Biden administration, and I appreciate the hard work she's done in this state. And if she decides she wants to vote for me, I don't think she's actually living here right now, so I don't think she is voting. I want to reach all people. And if Cindy McCain decides she wants to come and vote for me, I will welcome that. If she wants to support me, I will welcome that. I want to get Arizonans who are voting to see that our policies work. You know, a lot of times you've talked about me focusing on the past, focusing on the past. I'm looking forward. I'm looking to the future, and our future can either be very bright and be excellent for our young people and our children, or it can be very bleak. And right now you're focusing on the past. The people of Arizona don't care about this.
They want to know who you are.
They don't. They know who I am. I've been in their homes for 27 years.
They want to know who you are because you'd said things in the past, and you're correcting that now or changing that
Dennis,
now.
you need
They wanna know who you
need
are.
to move on. We are bringing people together, and they know who I am. They know I'm a fighter. They know that I care deeply about this community. I've raised my family in this community, and they know that I care about that border. They know that I had a policy that was so good on that border that Greg Abbott is now doing that in Texas, and it's working. I want to solve these problems. I'm not worried about squabbles. I'm moving forward. I can't go backwards. I can only move forward, and I'm going to move forward and help the people of the state. I'm going to win this seat and help bring the majority back to the Senate so we can solve some of these problems that we've been dealing with for a long time.
Okay. And let me ask Senator Barrasso this question, too. This question was asked at the press conference. Didn't seem like it was a very popular question, but I did want to ask this. Working in the Senate, Kari Lake, there's a lot of attention given to a recording she had taken of Jeff DeWitt, the former campaign party chair. Can you trust that she can be trusted in backroom conversations, candid conversations, that she won't be recording people or anything like that? Because the Senate
Dennis, this is ridiculous. The people of this country don't care about this. You
Well,
would have.
the Senate, though, you've been in the Senate for a long
You would have recorded
time.
a conversation if someone showed up at your door and said, "I got to tell you something. I can't tell it on the phone." I was nervous about it. I thought there would be a threat in it, and I have every right. I didn't break any laws. I have every right. And you're spending time sitting with the sitting senator.
I'm asking the sitting
talking
senator about whether she
I have
can be
great
trusted.
confidence. I have great confidence in Kari Lake as a senator in the United States. Would love to have her from representing the people of Arizona as a forceful, effective, conservative voice for the country. We need her in the United States Senate. I think she'd be a great addition to the Senate and make a big difference for our country moving forward, getting back on track.
Okay, that's,
And the only people I record, frankly, are people that come to my door and try to bribe me. If you come into my home and try to bribe me, there's a chance I might record you. And guess who else I record? Every interaction I have with the fake news media.
Sure.
Because, as you know,
I am
the
aware.
first interaction we
I
had,
am aware.
how dishonest the fake news media is. Nobody trusts them. And so I record that. And I think not only should every politician record every interaction they have with the media, I think every American should record every interaction they have with the media. Because you've proven time and time again that you can't be trusted. That you can't be trusted.
that me personally can't be trusted?
That the news can't be trusted, yeah.
Okay, well, I do want to ask, I know you don't want to go back, but there are questions.
Oh, boy, Dennis, really, we have a wide open border. Where are we going back now? What year are we going back to now, Dennis?
Elections.
Let's go back to the 70s. You can put your bell bottoms on.
Too young to have bell bottoms in the 70s. Let's go back to the election stuff. I mean, there was an opinion
Dennis.
piece. There was an opinion piece today by the guy who was supposedly hired by Donald Trump to find election fraud. He wrote an opinion piece in the Republic,
Dennis.
said he didn't find it.
Dennis, I'm not. You have criticized me over and over again.
I'm not criticizing you.
You're going back. You're concentrating on past
I'm not
elections.
criticizing you. I'm asking
looking
questions.
to future elections. Okay.
Sure, but-
I'm not
but-
going to entertain any more
but all-
questions about the past election.
But the election
and
stuff,
election
but
fraud,
the election
because
stuff
the headline
is a lot about who you are, about your brand as a politician.
It's not a brand. I want to have honest elections that people have faith in. And
Sure.
guess what, Dennis? The polling shows that Republicans don't have faith in our elections. Neither do independents. And an increasing number, it's getting close to half of Democrats, think we need election reform. And I'll end it with that.
Well, Senator, do you have faith in our elections?
I have faith that the people, certainly in my home state of Wyoming, do it right. It's a state-by-state issue. I am against what the Democrats are trying to do, and they're trying to federalize the elections where you wouldn't have to have a identification. You just go up and ask for a ballot. I think we should have photo IDs, and I want to make sure that states have the right to make sure that they have the integrity in their own state. I want to make it easier to vote and harder to cheat, and that's not what the Democrats seem to be trying to do right now.
Yeah, and you said recently you didn't know who stole the election.
You know, because I want to focus on the future, because I know that the media has not covered it well. They've not covered our cases well. It's all in the court documents. Go look at it. But I'm not going to sit here when we have a few minutes to talk about the issues that are facing Americans at the border with the crime soaring
And we'll
And
have stories about the border night from the press conference.
Focus on the past. It's actually almost comical.
No, that is not the truth. Because
Also-
we will air stories about the press conference.
Okay.
You talked about
I will
the border.
tell you this,
We will do
Dennis.
that.
Let me tell you this. I'm actively involved in cases, and as you know, I'm actively involved in a lawsuit. Anybody who's involved in a lawsuit, their attorneys would tell them not to go into specific details, and so therefore I'm going to do that. Okay.
Well,
but what
just
I would
explain,
like to,
though,
I would like
how
to.
Kim Yee had 100,000 more votes than you in a rigged election. She's a Republican too.
Really, we're going to keep relitigating, huh?
I've not asked you that, and I am interested in
Okay.
your explanation.
Well, Dennis, I am willing to talk about the border. That's why we are here today. We're talking about the border. And, you know, you guys have criticized me for several years now for talking about elections. I want to talk about the 2024 election versus Ruben Gallego. By the way, you want to talk about voting, Ruben Gallego wants everybody pouring across this border. He wants to give them right to vote. That's 9 million people, maybe 12 million. I'm not sure I believe the federal government's numbers. He wants them all to be able to vote. And I don't think the American people want that. I don't want that, and the American people don't want that. If you have any more questions about the border.
You have a question about the border, but I do. The Kim Yee thing is interesting because she had 100,000 more votes than you in a rigged election. I am curious and interested, and I think people are interested in your explanation.
That just shows you there's so many anomalies and things that don't make any sense. There are so many things that don't make sense about the statistics involving that election. And I know that you really don't care to dig into it because of the coverage, the lack of coverage. So we're going to end it at that. And please let the record show that Dennis and 3TV cannot get over past elections, just as you've accused me, Dennis. I'm actually embarrassed for you right now that you have a sitting senator here.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
And I have a border question and for the final question here, but go ahead and continue.
I'm done, if you have no more questions.
Okay. I do want to get your guys' opinion about the bipartisan border plan that got killed in the Senate. Is it a regret on your part? What was wrong with that plan?
Well, I think the best plan to deal with the border is the bill that came out of the House of Representatives. H.R. 2 came to the Senate, and Chuck Schumer has it sitting there for 9 months. Won't bring it up for hearings, won't bring it up for a vote. That's what we need to do. We need to attach that on the funding bill that is already passed, because what we saw initially coming out of the Biden administration on this so-called national security bill was more money for sanctuary cities, more money to smooth the flow of illegal immigrants into the country rather than to stop the flood. And my goal is to stop this flood that's now at 9 million.
And what's your proposal?
I've talked about, you want me to talk about the bill
plan,
that went down?
Because you talked about today, you talked about ending catch and release, shutting down the border. You've got a three-point
I
plan.
frankly don't think we need a lot of legislation. We do need spending approved to finish President Trump's wall. And I'm not sure exactly the cost. I've heard it estimated anywhere between 8 and 20 billion. I think we need to get that spending approved and quickly build the border wall and allow our Border Patrol agents to do their job. We need to stop allowing people in. We need to have a president who will stop catch and release. You know, the senator talked about dozens upon dozens. Was it 90?
94 different executive orders that Joe Biden signed in his first 100 days in office.
To dismantle an incredibly effective border policy that President Trump had in place to keep us safe, you safe, your viewers safe. This is somebody who's on a mission to destroy our country. Why would he do that? And look at the border. Laken Riley, 22 years old, her whole life ahead of her, is dead because of Joe Biden's policies. We've got fentanyl pouring in. So we don't have to create a whole bunch of legislation. Go back to President Trump's policies. They worked, and let's make sure we get that border wall complete.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.